Today let's talk about goals, expectations, ambitions, and all of that stuff that goes into planning and getting out of your first running event, what you expect, what you want. It's very complicated, but let's try to dive into it. But we're going to do it on the walk because I've got errands to run. Okay, let's talk about expectations first, because I think this is where most people kind of get off to a rough start. I know it's where I got off to a rough start and kind of set myself up for, I don't want to call it failure, but kind of disappointment. You have to be realistic with what your expectations are. You have to be realistic with understanding where you currently are with your running journey. If you've never run a 5K without walking, it's unrealistic to expect that you're going to run a 10K at a sub 1 hour pace in 3 or 4 weeks. That doesn't mean that you won't ever be able to run a 10K at a sub 1 hour pace. It just means you have to be realistic about what your expectations are. You also have to be realistic about your expectations of the time and the commitment that the running is going to have on your life. Like, for example, probably run a 10K in under an hour with 10 to 12 weeks of training, maybe 3 to 4 days a week, depending on how your training blocks are built. Now, personal anecdote of expectations. I thought my first time running a half marathon that I was going to be able to do it in under 2 hours with like 15 or 16 weeks of training, and I was going to be able to do it all on my own. I was very wrong. I did not go sub 2 hours, and I hurt myself along the way because I didn't realize the time commitment that training was going to have, in addition to doing strength training and stuff like that. So you have to be really realistic with your expectations, and only you can really set those. So my recommendation is figure out what you want to accomplish. What is your main goal to do it? And that's actually a good segue into the next segment of this video, which is goals, but I do need to keep moving because I do got to get this package dropped off. Hey, I just gotta drop this off.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a great day. Okay, let's talk about goals. Now, I have a lot of feelings and opinions on goals and goal setting, and some people might not say they're healthy or realistic or fair, but they are just my opinions. I believe that your ultimate stretch goal should scare the living shit out of you. And I believe that because I don't think setting uber realistic goals is going to challenge you, and thus you're not going to reap the reward of accomplishing that goal as much as if it scares the shit out of you. So, but let me break that down a little bit. Just because I think that way doesn't mean that I don't set stair-step goals that are a little bit healthier and more realistic. So, example, in my running journeys and training for events, training for races, my first and foremost number one goal is to finish. If you don't finish a race, no other goal matters at all. My second goal is to finish healthy. If you don't finish healthy, you are going to lose all of your momentum. You're going to get discouraged. You're going to just hit depth and maybe not go back to running at all. Then I have a time goal. This time goal is a stretch for me. It's maybe slightly realistic, slightly unrealistic, and then I have a stretch goal. Okay, so going to the very beginning of it. When I first started running, my first goal that I remember having for myself was to run a 5K without walking at all. My second goal was to run a 5K in less than 30 minutes. Then I got into the 10K realm and I was like, I just want to finish a 10K. Then it was 10K under an hour. When I started doing that, then it was like, okay, now let's go for distances. Let's go for a half marathon. So my first half marathon goal was under 2 hours. I didn't have it in my head to finish. I didn't have it in my head to finish healthy. All I was pushing for was to run a half marathon in under 2 hours. And I didn't. Okay, it took me 2 tries to run a half marathon in under 2 hours. The first one, I hurt myself and I barely finished. The only reason I finished was just pure stubbornness. And because I finished hurt, I didn't run for 6 months. Once I accomplished my half marathon goals, I went out for the marathon. And my first marathon goal was finish healthy, finish in under 4 hours. I missed the 4-hour mark, but I finished, and I finished healthy. And what that meant I was in a good position to continue my training immediately so that I could get back on the road to finishing in under 4 hours. My second marathon attempt, I finished healthy, I finished under 4 hours. I also had a stretch goal on that one of 3 hours and 52 minutes, which is about a 5:30 pace, which was faster than I had ever run during training or anything like that, and I missed that. Now, I hit those first 3 goals, which were the main ones, so I was content and happy and felt very accomplished. I'm kind of okay that I missed my stretch goal, because by missing my stretch goal, it keeps me a little bit humble, and it was allowed me to step back and say, okay, what do I have to do for my next training to get that 3 hour and 52 minute mark? So it's a long way of saying set goals that are realistic and scare the living shit out of you. So it's okay to have multiple goals. So maybe you've never run before and your first goal will be, I want to run a 5K without walking. Maybe you've done a few 5Ks and it's like, I run a 10K, or I want to run a 10K in under an hour. It's up to you what you set them. But make sure that you allow yourself room to miss them without being too hard on yourself to the point that you discourage yourself from ever trying again. So I got that package dropped off. I'm on my way back to the house now. So let's keep going and we'll keep talking. Okay, closing off on this video and closing off on the goals part of it. When setting your goals, make sure these goals are your own goals, okay? Don't try to set a goal comparing yourself to somebody else out there, because you don't know what went into them running that time. And what I'm talking about here is that when you're surfing like YouTube and stuff, you see all these videos of, follow me for my 3:30 marathon, follow me for my, sub 3 hour marathon, or these, I'm gonna run a 19-minute 5K, or this, that, and the other thing. You don't know what went into them getting to that point, okay? For me, it was a struggle to get under 4 hours, and I was running 5 days a week and cross-training. So set a goal that is only for you. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to be as fast as others. Just try to be accomplished to yourself and make sure that you're happy with what you're going out and doing, because when you start comparing yourself to others, you're just going to kind of set yourself up for disappointment, I think. So that's it. I'm off my soapbox. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will continue to try to bring them on a weekly basis. And now I am going to get inside and heat up my lunch because I'm cold and hungry. Thanks.